A first-person view of a warrior waking up in a dimly lit medieval stone chamber. Sunlight filters through a cracked window, casting long shadows on the floor. Dust particles float in the air. The warrior's worn, leather-gloved hands rub their face, feeling the scars of past battles. A massive, ornate sword leans against the bed. Outside, the distant sound of war horns echoes. Heavy footsteps of soldiers marching can be heard in the stone corridors. The warrior exhales deeply, knowing today is the day of destiny. A first-person view of the warrior fastening leather straps on their iron-plated armor. The sound of metal clanking fills the air as gauntlets are secured. A polished helmet reflects the flickering torchlight. The warrior reaches for their sword, the blade shimmering with ancient engravings. A close-up shot of the warrior's hand gripping the sword hilt tightly before sheathing it at their side. The warrior glances at a battle map on the table, where enemy positions and dragon attack routes are marked in red ink. A first-person perspective, as the warrior walks through a massive war camp outside the fortress. Soldiers sharpen swords, and war horses neigh anxiously. The wind carries the scent of burning torches and damp earth. Flags bearing the kingdom's sigil wave against the morning sky. A grizzled commander approaches, slapping the warrior on the shoulder, saying, "The time has come. The dragons are near." A first-person shot of an old mage standing in front of a burning brazier, his eyes glowing with magic. He holds out a scroll containing an ancient prophecy. His voice is deep and foreboding. Only the Blade of Starlight can pierce the Dragon King's heart. Wield it wisely, or all shall perish. The warrior takes the glowing sword from the mage's hands, feeling its weight and power. The wind howls, and a distant roar shakes the ground. A first-person perspective of the warrior standing at the front lines of the battlefield. The once clear sky turns black as colossal dragon wings block out the sun. Shadows stretch across the land. Fireballs rain from the sky, crashing into the camp, sending soldiers flying. The warrior's hands tighten around their sword. Screams of soldiers mix with the deafening roars of dragons. "Hold the line!" a commander shouts as archers prepare their bows. The ground trembles as the first dragon lands with a massive impact. A first-person view as the warrior charges toward a massive dragon, its red scales glowing like molten lava. The dragon swings its tail, sending soldiers flying. The warrior dodges just in time and slashes at the beast's leg, sparks flying as steel meets scale. The dragon lets out a thunderous roar and exhales a wave of fire. The warrior raises their shield, feeling the heat sear through the metal. The battlefield is chaos. Arrows streak through the sky. Spells explode in bursts of light, and knights fight desperately against the monstrous creatures. A first-person perspective as the fortress walls begin to crumble under the assault of the dragons. Massive boulders hurled by dragon magic smash into the stone, sending debris flying. The warrior sprints through the dust and fire, dodging falling rubble. Soldiers yell in panic as a gigantic dragon perches atop the main gate, blasting fire into the stronghold. The warrior sees a fallen ally reaching out for help, grabs their hand, and pulls them to safety, just as a beam collapses behind them. A first-person shot as the warrior comes face-to-face with a massive armored dragon general. The beast has glowing eyes and jagged black armor covering its body. It speaks in a deep, guttural voice. "You are not worthy of this fight." The warrior lunges forward, clashing blades with the dragon's enchanted claws. Sparks and magical energy crackle through the air. The dragon general strikes with lightning-fast speed, forcing the warrior to block and counterattack. The sound of clashing metal echoes through the battlefield. A first-person perspective as the warrior climbs a ruined tower to face the Dragon King. The air is thick with smoke, and the sky glows red from fire. The Dragon King lands with a massive crash, his dark crimson scales gleaming. He lets out a deafening roar, shaking the very foundation of the battlefield. The warrior draws the Blade of Starlight, its glow cutting through the darkness. The dragon's eyes narrow before lunging forward with terrifying speed. The warrior leaps, sword raised high, as the final battle begins. A slow-motion first-person view as the warrior drives their glowing sword into the Dragon King's chest. Time slows down. The dragon lets out an ear-splitting roar as golden light erupts from its wound. The force of the attack sends shockwaves through the battlefield. The dragon's wings tremble before collapsing to the ground. The warrior stumbles back, breathing heavily, watching as the once mighty beast takes its final breath. Silence falls over the battlefield. The war is over. But at what cost? A first-person perspective of the warrior standing on a high balcony overlooking the kingdom. The sky is clear once more, and banners of victory wave in the wind. People cheer in the streets. The warrior looks down at their hands, scarred but victorious. A faint growl echoes in the distance, a reminder that dragons may rise again one day. The scene fades to black as the warrior's journey continues.